Nice to have your company this morning. Queensland is punishing unvaccinated teachers, docking their pay for the next 18 weeks. The Minister for Aged Care and Sport, Annika Wells, joins me in the studio, and 6PR's Gareth Parker joins us too. Nice to see you both this morning. Annika, to you first, because a letter has been sent by the Education Department saying they're going to have their pay docked if they haven't had their COVID-19 vaccination. Yeah. Where do you stand on this?
Look, it's taken me right back to the hustings from the election campaign, to be honest, because this was such a hot button issue. But both ways, I think, worth noting. A lot of people who, pregnant teachers wanted a safe workplace, vaccinations, it's how we do that. Where do I stand on it? Ultimately, I think everyone has the right to make a choice about whether or not to get vaxxed, but no one has the right to be free from the consequences of that choice. And these have been set out a long time coming, and they've had their pay docked, for the 6 months running up to this. So this isn't a surprise, and it's something that the Queensland government's going to have to work through with this very small pocket of teachers, given 99% are actually vaccinated.
Yeah, but you're talking about more than 100 teachers here, so you're saying that it makes sense, these are the consequences if you don't get vaccinated. I don't understand this, Gareth, in the sense of, okay, so we think it's safe enough for you to come in and to teach our kids in the classroom, to do the job, but we're not going to pay you what we pay the other teachers. I don't know about this.
I think it's too much. I think it's too far. I think we need to move beyond the emergency settings and a quite traumatic period in the nation's life to something that's approaching more normal. And I don't think that this helps that. This is actually not really about whether you're a health risk. This is, we're taking more money off you because it's a punishment for not following our direction.
It's
like, that's the principle involved. It's actually not about health, it's about punishment. Now, the letter to the teachers states that this is because you put your colleagues at risk. Well, we might have thought that was true, but I don't think anyone really thinks that's true now, given that we know that the vaccine, as much as we wish otherwise, doesn't really do anything to prevent transmission. So this is just an extra punitive step. It's basically getting into those teachers' faces and saying, hey, because you didn't do what we said, we're punishing you further. I just think it's too much.
Well, Queensland teachers who refused to get vaccinated will now have their pay docked. Today reporter Mia Glover is on the Gold Coast. Mia, this is a contentious one.
Yeah, it really is, Carl. Good morning again to you. We've spoken to so many people here on the Goldie this morning, and a lot of them are divided about whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. But hundreds of unvaccinated teachers have been given a letter this week by the Education Department saying, in addition to having leave without pay for 6 months for not getting the COVID-19 jab, well, now you're going to have your pay docked for around 18 weeks. For some teachers, they'll be losing around $1,700 in that period. So we spoke to some people this morning. Take a listen to what they had to say.
They're struggling for teachers anyway, aren't they? Everywhere around Australia. I reckon they shouldn't be done.
Honestly, no, I don't think it's fair. We don't have enough teachers as it is. And I just think it's coercion.
Absolutely. I think docking pay in this situation at the moment is pretty hard on anyone in any profession.
Yeah, pretty divisive, isn't it? Those unvaxxed teachers who are getting this punishment, Carl, have around 21 days to appeal it.
Well, let's go now to our top story in Queensland this morning. And hundreds of teachers left reeling after receiving a letter from the state's Education Department informing them that their pay will be docked if they refuse to get their COVID vaccination.
Gee, this has caused a storm of responses. To discuss, we're joined by the Secretary at the Teachers Professional Association Queensland, Tracy Tully. Tracy, good morning to you. What are your thoughts on this first up? Because our audience have been pretty outraged.
Oh, good morning, Carl, and thank you for having me here today. It is an outrage. Our educators that work for the Department of Education are absolutely horrified that they're being punished financially a second time. They were stood down without pay, and that has cost them over $20,000. For some of them, that equates to losing their homes, their marriages, mental health issues, not to mention what happens to their children, and no one seems to think about the children.
So what would the reasoning behind this decision be? I mean, if they've decided that it's fine, it's safe enough for teachers to be in the classroom, to be teaching kids and to be associating with other staff, why are they then being docked their pay?
Exactly, Ali. And these teachers have been in the forefront of COVID since it started. So to all of a sudden treat them like this is absolutely demoralising. The reason being it's about punishment because they can, and it's a small select group. And as a small select group, they can be targeted easily. So they're very fearful of what comes next. The letters they received were disgraceful. A disgrace in terms of whoever wrote them really needs to go back to school. They were written specifically to cause fear by the HR director.
Okay.
Within the education department.
Yes.
Righto. So basically they've said it has nothing to do with health, it's a compliance issue.
It's a compliance issue.
Basically, they've said it has nothing to do with health, it's a compliance issue.
You didn't get a vaccination, so you're not going to go to school. It's got nothing to do with health, it's just compliance.
Absolutely it is. So the first discipline they received was the leave without pay, and that was for not following a direction. They did not break any laws by not following the direction.
Can I ask this? How do other teachers view that? I know that the opinion runs pretty hot in Queensland about vaccinations, but we've got to the point now, surely, where we know from a health point of view that it doesn't really make any difference. How do other teachers view it?
Yes, so thanks for that. So across Australia, including Queensland, the other teachers are sick and tired of the shortage of staff. So everyone is paying a dear price for this.
So what happens from this point? Do these teachers just have to cop that their pay will be docked, or can you take it further?
Correct, Ali. They'll commence docking their pay immediately, and they have been doing this prior to this. There's no consultation at all. There's no care factor, and the teachers will fight that. We'll do the fight for them. I personally am invested in this one with the Industrial Relations Commission because the power of the arrogance of the cruelty in what they're doing, so it's double jeopardy. They're punishing them financially, not once but twice.
How much is it?
This one works out depending on, so we have cleaners, we have groundsmen and women, we have admin officers, teachers, principals. So it depends what rank they are and level they are. So it could be anything from $500 to $3,000.